All right, our mobility, flow, and balance class today has us starting on the big ball. And personally, I like to have my mat down for that. So you don't need a mat, but if you're working on carpet without a mat and without shoes, you might find it really hard to grip, right? So assume the position. It's a ball walkout. So right out of the gate, don't worry whether or not are you supposed to be an S curve or C curve. Just let your body relax, start moving the feet, try not to hold on to the ball, take really small steps, all right? Because we don't want to just hop out. I have clients to this day walk back who, though we've been training for years, still get on the ball, and they move so fast that though they don't fall off the ball, they miss the point within the first couple of repetitions until I clean up their form of why we're even doing this. So every time you walk out and walk back, you're going to creep back on your mat. So you might find in a couple more repetitions that you need to reset the ball on the mat. Go as slow as you can because you want to feel your body shift its weight from right to left foot, right? And then when you get your head on the ball, I want you to pick up your hips, pull your belly in, get a nice bridge going so you feel like your buns are working. And then as you initiate your walk back, lift your head from the ball and then move your feet. Think phenomenal abdominals are working. Push your hips into the ball. Do a crunch. If you get hung up, you may have to generate a little bit of momentum to rock you through the stick point. I don't know. That's all part of the challenge here. Walk it out, chin to chest. In walkout, you're actually in C curve because your abs are part of your stabilizers. The head and the shoulders comfortably are on the ball. And Amy, this is why I would say you would want your bigger ball, because you just can get comfortable at a faster rate. So buns are active, ready. Don't push back. First, you pick your head up, tuck your chin, initiate into your C curve. Abs are working. Push the hips into the ball. Walk up. All right, do it again. Pelvic tilt, C curve. Load the abs. Walkie, walkie, walkie. Keep your chin tucked until you feel your shoulders touch the ball. And then your neck and head should naturally come to the ball in a nice position. Bridging of the hips. Walk it back, chin to chest. You got one more. The walk back can present its own challenge. And here's what I mean by that. Okay, so your stop point for your walkout should have you, and this is the challenge, part of the challenge is because you can't see where your feet and knee alignment is, you now have to be told and then feel, is that where your body is? The knee and foot alignment should be vertical. And sometimes when I watch people walk out, is they get their feet way forward of their knees and then they've got a sag in the middle of the body. So pull your feet back under the knee and then lift the hips. All right. And now your hips are up, you're staying active. And here we go. Pick up your head, look at your abdomen because your chin is tucked. Round your spine, roll your shoulders, and pull your feet back enough so that you feel like your foot gets to push you back. We have to use the muscles in the right way. That was the foot walkout. And now the next coordination aspect is the hand walkout. So get on the ball. Your mat is your runway. And we have done walkouts before, because now as I'm trying to get us on the ball, I'm being reminded, how do you get on the ball smoothly? You put a hand on the ball or both hands and you stride one leg back, and then you pull the ball into your abdomen, and then hands down and put the other leg back. There are many ways to do this, but that's the way I get on the ball. All right. And then at this point, if you want to put your knees down, realign the ball so that the lines on the ball, if your ball has lines, let them go the direction that you're wanting to move your body. All right. So here we go. Start inching yourself forward. There's a point where your feet get to lift off the floor, and then you're going to walk your hands a couple more steps forward. Just as we wanted our feet and knees to be aligned on the forward stop position, we want our wrists, elbows, and shoulders aligned in our stop position here. And then you start moving the hands back. I generally put a number that we're shooting for of the hand walkout, okay? And it's normally 4 hand walks. So on the 4th hand walk, you should end up with both hands on the same line in your forward position. Ready? Step 1, step 2, step 3, line the hands up. Walk it back. Step 1, step 2, step 3, line the hands up. What we're trying to not do is push ourselves back where the feet hit the floor and then the trunk comes back down on the ball. Once we've established body line and control, you're trying to stay active knees, active glutes, active shoulders. So here we go. The first hand position obviously offsets the 2 hands from one another. When you take the second hand walk, move it forward of the first hand position, right? Just like your feet, they move forward. They don't line up. They only line up on step number 4. Ready? Back it up, overtake the other hand, and then line them up. Why does it have to be so specific? Because it gives you a target, right? Little forward step, go beyond the other hand, and then line them up. Back it up. They don't have to be big arm positions. You just need to make sure that your weight actually is transferring from right to left hand, right? Go back. Because if your hand is sliding back and you're not actually lifting it off the floor, consider that just your beginner learner phase, and that you feel that you don't have enough confidence in your ability to actually pick the hand up. But in your most ideal position, you will lift the hand from the floor, place it where you want it. And this is how the movement becomes a challenge, right? Now, consider this walk back, your last one. And then I want you to put yourself in a position where obviously now your wrist may be starting to get a little fatigued, right? That's a massive stretch for that wrist joint. So if need be, make a fist, turn your palms into each other, release the thumb so it's kind of like this little front point anchor, and just hold here. You're just holding, squeeze your buns. Can we draw the shoulders out of the ears, right? So here's the thought. Even if you haven't gone to fists, that's okay. We still want to pull the shoulders out of the ears. And then I would like for you to pelvic tilt into the ball. Wow. Shoulders out of the ears, pelvic tilt. With your pelvic tilting, you should feel like, oh, I'm actually really stable through my lumbar. You should have no squiggles going on because your body's figuring it out. You're just holding here. Pull the back of your head back towards the ceiling, glide the shoulders away from the ears, go into your pelvic tilt. You've got 2 stiff, strong legs holding 5, 4. Your triceps are loaded because you're pushing into the ground. And now relax your body, easy glide back, move the hands so you don't roll off the ball, walking back, walking back, walking back. Knees get to touch the floor. Help yourself up. This is our little segment on the ball that we're starting with, okay? So like we did yesterday, we're going to get into our bouncy bounce. I had somebody leave a comment on the YouTube channel about the ball. Boing, boing, boing. That was the comment. Boing, boing, boing. And I did not take that bad. I was humored by it. But yes, you should feel like you're boing, boing, boing. We're not going to bounce for long. Can you bounce and lift the heels? You don't have to lift the entire foot. And as a refresh, right, your sit position is, you're such in command of this spine rigidity, right, that your abs are pulled in, your back body muscles are contracted, because that's going to help keep you from curling and tipping the tailbone under on the down. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, and hold the phone. All right, little circles, work it around. Now, for me in the circles, I'm going to back myself up so that my feet are on my mat. Okay. You're like, oh, sounds like a good idea, right? Okay. Because we want to get a little more expressive. Just like we did yesterday, right? Here we go. Sweep it around. Big circle, stir in the pot. Can you take your arms, pull them into you, push them the direction the hips are going, push them, work it around, drive it, shoulders are out of the ears. It's really important that you try to go C curve as you're doing this full lean back into S sit. This seems like it's only just little ball circles, but it's much more than that. We're taking the spine and we're creating fluidity, right? We're creating this aspect of each vertebrae being able to move independently into C curve, and then you're commanding back to your nice clean S. And now when you come back, pause in the S sit and go the other way. So if your spine is really stiff, you might find two things. If your spine is stiff and you have a little bit of trepidation using the ball, then your expression may seem really like hardly noticeable that you're doing anything. It might feel like you're doing a lot, but you'll look at yourself and you'll be like, I'm barely getting around. So as your body gets more comfortable, things can become bigger ranges of motion, and that's just something that will come with time. I love the arms. Push the arms the direction your hips are going, right? Sweep it around, pull it to you, drive it, right? Because what happens, like the arms are going with the hips, but the body is moving away from the hips, right? So this is another one of these things where we're working on extension and contraction, extension, but yet in extension, triceps are working, obliques are working. So much more is happening than what it originally seems like it. So give me 2 more. And if you went faster, that's fine. You'll get 4 in there instead of the 2. And relax. All right, get yourself set. Are your lines still going the direction that your knees and toes are pointed? Maybe that doesn't bother you. Swish, swish a leg, swish a leg. Okay. Put yourself like attention, mind to muscle. And now, controlling the cervical spine. So if you're staring at the screen, great. If you're kind of looking at the screen as a reference every now and again, and then staring, like focusing on the floor in front of the screen, great. If your leg catches your eye and you're looking to see, making sure that your thighs are level, great. If you go, oh, I'm looking at my thigh and then I catch a glimpse of my foot, right? Is the foot cockeyed, right? Does it matter? Yes, it matters. It all matters. I was thinking this morning, keep going. You know we're going to be here for a while. The down foot needs to drive down into the floor. Now, if your hips are not maintaining their commanded position of S sit, what will happen is when you extend the leg, the ball will roll forward and you will now feel it pushing into the bottom leg. That is not the position that you want. You want to pull your hips back and get the ball off of your calf. If you've pulled your foot back so far that there's no getting the ball off the calf, then you need to stop, give a little repositioning, because we do not want the ball to brace on the lower leg. You're trying to keep the knee and the ankle as their vertical line and your body in a clean sit without the ball touching the calf. And now back to my story. This is all good work. It doesn't matter how many repetitions we do. The longer we spend cleaning up our form, the nuances of it, it's not wasted time. It's time under tension. It's focus, control. And my thought was, as much as I love to have music when I work out, I realize that when I present these classes, I actually can't put music into the routine because I thought, man, maybe that would be something neat to add in, even if I dubbed it in before I posted it on YouTube. But there's so much information exchanged, right, about the how to hold your focus, that we're not just banging out holding. You're not just banging out 10 repetitions of something. With each repetition, if you can channel your thought and not be distracted by my constant chatter, but switch legs, this is your last one, but pick up on, I'm in charge. What does that mean? Because we're going to run through it on this leg. The down leg is not touching the ball. You're pushing the heel into the floor. The up leg, the thighs are level. Drive the heel away from you. Try not to let the foot deviate from its neutral. And by the way, maintain S, shoulders down, cervical spine retraction. Your chin is at the horizon line. Release and relax. So we don't need some thumping music that we're trying to keep a beat to. There's plenty of time for those different types of activities where, especially if you're out for a walk, right? Put some music in it if you want, if you're trying to keep to a tempo. We're not necessarily going that route. And that was my thought this morning. Okay, so what have I done? I've pushed myself back so my foot can be on the mat. And not only that, I'm taking the ball and I'm pushing it a little bit back so I'm no longer sitting right on the top center. I want to sit on the ball in a way that allows me to be able to extend this leg without the ball hindering my leg extension. And if you wonder, are you in the right spot? Reposition yourself. You'll know what I mean. If you've got too much ball under you, you really won't be able to stay in an active leg extension comfortably. So that is for you to explore. Can you take your ball? It's going to seem a little bit weird because you're going to try to draw a circle, but the circle is only going to seem like it's coming around one side because the straight leg is going to hinder that. But it's more of what's happening in the hip Okay. Give me one more. Now, lengthen spine, push the toes to the floor. Do they go? Mine barely goes. I may have my leg too far forward. All right. Pull the toes up, push the toes down. You're braced. Pull the toe up, push the toe down, up, down, up. This is the one where you're going to stay up. The leg is fully extended. Lengthen your spine, right? The floor is there. Look down at it. If you look at the floor and you're like, yeah, there is no way I can get my fingers down there, then I want you to bend the arm that goes with your bent leg, right? And I want you to just fold forward as far as you can comfortably, because the stretch should be happening along the groin, right? And now, if you don't need your arm to brace, then you just keep letting your torso lower. And at some point, if the hands hit the floor, great. You're going to then soften the elbows and see if your body will go a little bit lower. Pulling up, shoulder blades contract, brace elbow to thigh, push yourself up, bend that leg in, and then just shimmy the ball, right? Get really comfortably seated with that other leg bent, right? All right. Even if you're not doing it right, that's who's going to know, right? It's just going to feel a little bit weird. What I hope happens is that you don't feel like you need to hold the ball, or that somehow the ball is going to shoot out from under you, because that would be scary. So you should be seated in a way where, all right, I'm comfortable, and you're trying to use your hips to draw through a circle, which is just, there might be some crabbiness up there. And here's where the bigger ball comes in handy. The small ball would sit your hips so much below the knee line that it would hinder your ability. So the small ball has some good aspects to it. And now release and relax. Take your leg, look at it. Can you drive the toes towards the floor? Even if they don't touch, you're just going pointed to flexed, pointed to flexed, pointed, flex, point, flex, point. Wow. Massive stretch. Not only that, you should feel like something really, like, are you working on this upper quad and groin region? Does it feel like it's loaded and getting fatigued? That would be normal. Are you ready? Pull the toes up, pull. Look at the open space, lengthen the trunk, start your forward fold. And now, without a doubt, something should be happening along this underside of your straight leg. Brace if you want to, or reach if you want to. Let the weight of the head relax. Let the whole body just come down. Where you would stop your down is based on your sensory of, oh, that's way too much stretch, right? If it's too much stretch, or what you're feeling is a dominant stretch behind the knee, then you need to soften the leg on that straight side if what you feel is behind the knee. If it's all back of thigh, then you got a good thing going on, and you brace or no brace, and holding for 5 and 4 and 3 and 2. Use your arms, help yourself up. Pull out of it. Okay, so we did our ball walkouts, but what we didn't do is deep knee bend to extension. And now we're ready to do that. We're ready to do that because we just tensed up these hip flexors that they're ready for their stretch. Get on your mat. Walk yourself down. You don't need to bridge. You're going to walk down, feet nice and wide, and we're going to allow the hips to draw down as close to the floor as your body says is a go zone. Your head is heavy. Put one hand behind your head, because as you rock back a little bit, right? We need to get the head supported on the ball. And then if your arm lets you, as you push yourself and rock back, you're contouring the ball. Does the shoulder feel okay for you to have that lengthened arm? Because if the answer is no, then reach it up to the ceiling and explore space with your arm and shoulders. And then eyes are open, please. Your head is either resting on the ball or your hand is stabilizing the weight of the head so you are not stressing your neck. What you're going to do is you're going to bend your legs a little bit, and then you're going to re-straighten the legs to whatever that means to you. So as your confidence builds and you start pushing your legs to straight, you're going to be like, wow, such a different stretch happens the straighter you get your legs, but not if fear sets in. So if you keep your legs bent and you have both hands wrapped around your head and you've got this big bow, your body is arching over the ball, you will get the benefit of stretching your abdominal wall. Okay, so all is not lost if you can't fully extend your legs. The stretch just becomes more stretch if you can extend your legs. Soften knees and inhale. Push and exhale, squeezing the buns. Why would we squeeze the buns? As your reminder, when we contract one muscle, primary in the glute right now, it facilitates a deeper stretch of the hip flexor. Bend the leg, do this last pushback, figure out where your stop zone's going to be, right? Activate your glutes. As you draw yourself back into your bent legs, pull your head up, right? Chin towards the chest. You can take your hands away from your head once you get into that crunch body position, and then walk yourself back. Oh, okay. I mean, we could just keep going with the ball, but that's enough. Okay, I said we were going to do about 20 minutes. I think we exceeded that. We could do 3 hours on the ball, but to get us up and moving, grab your book. We're going to shake off the cobwebs, hit the reset button, right? You can leave your mat down if you've got enough space. I don't think it's going to be in your way. All right. So if you have a mirror handy, go stand in front of your mirror so you can get your book on straight, right? The bigger the book, I think the greater the challenge, right? I was watching, oh my goodness. I don't know what I did before I had Prime Video and Netflix. Like I no longer, you're just going to start walking. I actually no longer watch regular TV because I can't stand commercials. And that sounds funny. And so sometimes I will record a show only to then be able to fast forward through commercials. But mostly now I have been finding these things to watch on Netflix. And it was a like 6-episode series of etiquette. And so this woman was taking on these clients, right? All different kinds of etiquette, social graces, everything across the board, right? So one of the drills that she had the students doing, the female students, because she works with male and females, but the female students, you're going to walk into your space, She had them walking with a book. There you go. We are so staying in line with all of these things that really do make a difference in how you carry yourself, right? So you're in your space, and I want you to get into one dominant stance leg, right? Shoulders down, pull the ribs down. I want you to feel like you're minimizing the space between right under the chest to the navel. Lock the ribs down. And when you lock the ribs down, go into pelvic tilt. All right. And keep trying to expand from right to left. Cervical spine, ribs down, pelvic tilt. And at some point, you're like, okay, I may be able to pick my foot up off the floor. If you don't need that foot as a reference point, it's off the floor. And now that it's off the floor, if everything's going well, pull the knee up. If everything's still going well, I want you to imagine that you have a harness under your armpits and totally around your entire chest and upper back, right? And now someone is taking the crank and they're cranking the tension on it to help you get taller, right? And then reset the knee up, cervical spine, shoulders broaden, ribs anchored, pelvic tilt. The higher you lift this knee, the more I want you to feel like you're squeezing your bun, but you're not collapsing back. I was with a client last night and I gave him some single leg balance work. And every time he picked up his leg, his body line kind of reclined. Now, he didn't have a book on his head. Release and relax, walk it out. Don't forget which leg you're standing on because you're going to go back and do the other side. Walk it around. Oh my goodness. Anyway, I was disappointed when the series was only one season, 6 episodes, because I thought she could just have one client after another. And I was just really like, there's so much to learn about social graces, right? In my humble opinion, I would love to go to a finishing school. Ready? Transfer in to the stance leg. Here we go. I'm going to help you with your checklist. We're going to go from top to bottom checklist. Take your chin, pull it back, broaden right to left shoulder, ribs, draw the rib down and feel like you're trying to pinch right in the middle. And then that pinch should then give you a sensation that, oh, when I pinch my abs together, it aligns and I feel an action happen through the derriere. And now, right? Do you feel your foot? Are you stable? I'm swaying intentionally. If you never get beyond this, it's still effective. My quad has fired up because my leg is stiff as a board. And now lift the other leg. Maybe you can't keep the leg lifted because balance is a little bit off, but you can tap the toe, reset, relift the foot. Maybe you have to tap the toe, reset, and relift. You might only get a second, a nanosecond, but if you have more skill, then keep pulling the leg up, flex the foot, right? Pull it up. Your harness is lifting you up, and your harness, my friends, are your muscles, your stabilizers. All of those muscles get to link up and create your extension. Is that not amazing? Muscles at attention is where you are. Holding 5, 4, stand taller. You might think your leg is straight, straighten it even more. Push the foot into the floor and release. Done right, a multitude of muscle firing happens. Even done wrong, a multitude of muscle firing happens, right? It's just sometimes done wrong. You tweak yourself and you don't even realize, right? So feet, don't, like, I want you to be aware. Side edges of the big toes touching. This is why I'm flopping my toes up and down, right? Okay, check. Got the side edges touching. A little space separates the heels. All right, check. Now, slowly, 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 turn your head. If your neck muscles are really tight, what happens is when we turn our head, our shoulders will tend to go with us. So I want you to think about that. Take your hands, put your hands on your shoulders if you can. Pull the shoulders down a little bit. Tuck your derriere, right? Because you're minimizing the space from under the chest to the navel. And when you pull your ribs down and contract your abs and squeeze your glutes, right? That's part of your core work. So hands on shoulders, core activated, turning your head as far as you can, right? Wow, that tree is really sparkly, isn't it? Bring the head around. All right, go slow. Shoulders, pull them down. It's so fascinating to me when I give the hand to shoulder move. And so often my clients actually can't get their hands to their shoulders. And I wonder, like, I know that we're not all the same limb ratio, right? So I wonder, is that what it is? Or is it muscular restriction, right? So here we go. Pull down, do the best you can. Even if you can't touch your shoulders, do the best. Belly to spine, stand really rooted with nice strong legs. Start turning your head. Why do I feel that this is a good movement to include in our mobility class, right? Don't look at the screen, just listen to the words. If your hands are on your shoulders, then you should be able to, with your head turned, right? You should be able to see that hand. And that direction of where your elbow is in relation to your hand becomes very telling. If your elbow is forward, then that means you're not staying in your opened chest position. So I want you to span the space between your elbows, right? Keep pulling the shoulders down because we don't want the far shoulder to twist. So your nose and your chin and your hand to shoulder give you a very good reference of how far of a rotation you're able to get with your head. Bring the head back to neutral. And the reason why we're doing head rotation with the book on our head is so often when I watch people turn their head, they cock their head. They angle it at the wrong way. If we're maintaining cervical spine retraction and we turn our head, right, there's a correct angle that we're putting our neck in. And without the book, you wouldn't be able to know if you're at the right angle. And so the book is that measurement. It allows you to go, oh, everything's tracking. So from elbow to elbow, you're expanded. Fingers are pulling down. Your ribs are drawn down, and yet you're in pelvic tilt. Turn your head without twisting your shoulders. Keep trying to turn your head and pull the shoulders down. Tuck the chin a little bit. Bring the head back to neutral. Wow. Release the arms. That should feel like your arms, your upper back did something. Okay. Back to single leg stance. Can you drag the leg up and down? Can you put your hands together? Of course you can. Now, do you have to drag your leg high? Because this is another one of those things where it might be that you're only able to get the toe to lift off the floor, but then you have to immediately set it right back down because your body reveals to you that your line is a little bit, right, unstable. This is the great thing is if you're looking at the screen and my movement is throwing you, then I want you to direct your eyes down and just stare at a spot on the floor, right? As you try to command your parts back into check. The check is cervical spine, ribs are anchored down. You've got your pelvic tilt happening on your stance leg. The stance leg is also super stiff at the knee. That's how we get the quad to fire up, right? So keep pulling the belly in and tightening the derriere and stiffening the leg while you're gliding this other leg up and down. 4 more. 4. Now, as you glide up and your ability increases, see if you can get the foot to come higher. Imagine that as you pull the heel up the inside of the leg, that you actually stand taller and down. One more time, gliding up, gliding up, gliding up, gliding up. You're tall, 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 and down, switch legs. So in yesterday's class, right, I had you standing at the chair. We had our plied position and we were doing squats, right? We could do that today too. That could be part of our mobility, but it's really hard with the book. I don't want to make it too hard. I just want you to think that there is a progression, right? So from one class to the next, some elements remain the same, but then something like this, which is the setup for tree pose, right? The gliding leg aspect makes this really hard. The gliding leg with the book, even harder, right? So if you're feeling really overwhelmed with challenge, then you have options. You can slowly walk to your wall, put your hands on your wall and try to do this facing a wall so that you can do both elements, or you take the book away, right? Or you take the book away and you go to the wall, right? So here we go. Does your leg have to float out to the side? No, you could pull wherever the knee allows you to go, right? It just is, this is more of getting you ready for your tree pose. But I'm just going to keep talking to you, right? So as the heel glides up, pull your body up, right? Up and down, up and down. There's a focus that I bring to the sessions when we're doing the single leg stance work that can seem like, oh my gosh, could we move on to something else, right? And there's a reason why I stay after it. So I want you to have options about how to assist yourself into better performance of single leg, and that would be using something to help assist your balance. This is your last one. Get it going. Let's checklist. Stand up. Rock the rib cage down and pinch your bun. Pull the heel up higher. And release. You should have a massive fatigue and burn going through parts of your body, and all you were doing was standing on one leg. Take the book away. You're done with it. When I look at these programs that are being marketed through social media, right? We're coming to the mat. I want you to have your band. your stretch out strap rather, your towel or a pillow, grab a little drink, all right? But when I watch the social media, these programs that are out there and the glam and glitz of things, as a presenter, there's a challenge. There's an internal challenge that I have when I see something and then I'm like, oh, should I be trying to find a way to like make something more like, glam and glitz? And I keep coming back to, I just can't bring myself to market a program with glam and glitz and all of this like kind of spastic crazy energy. So the things that we do together to the casual observer seems like so less than, because it's not spastic. There's a very sedate energy to the visual. How I know how this plays out visually, right? And I know how much you're going to loop one foot, doesn't matter which leg, because we're going to lay on our back. What you have to decide is how much pillow do you need so that when you lay down, your neck isn't being jacked into a forward crimp, and then you've got enough pillow so that when you lay down, your head isn't being jacked back. We're trying to let our extra little neck support here neutralize so that all of the spine essentially stays in its lengthened, neutral, non-crimped line. One leg is bent, one leg is looped, and that's going to be the straight leg. The beauty of your yoga strap or your Resist-A-Band, that's a tension strap, right, is that the strap becomes an extension to your arms so that you can keep the stress out of your neck and shoulders while you're assisting your leg. So your hands need to move up and down the strap, right? So that your elbows can stay close to your torso and that your shoulders, as much of your meaty back, stays connected to the mat. On your next up, we're going to keep the leg up. All right, so get your shoulders. Remember how when you were standing with the book on your head and we were turning the head from side to side, I had you put your hands on your shoulders. I want you to reference hand to shoulders for a second, and I want you to pull your shoulders out of your ears, and I want you to pull your elbows towards the floor. That's how opened your upper body needs to stay. So when you go and you grab your strap and you feel your upper back kind of round itself, you need to re-expand from right to left shoulder while you're holding your strap. And the beauty is your high leg is now going to stay there, and your low leg is now going to be the moving part. So once you get your hands bound on your strap, slide the elbows down and expand across the chest. And now move the other leg up and down. And I hope you just experienced something. As you start moving this leg down, you should be getting a nice hamstring stretch on your banded leg, right? We are slightly tricking our body into thinking that it's doing a stretch. All the while, we are activating your core. So the moving parts, the weight of the leg is activating your abs, right? As your moving leg gets closer to the ground, I want you to squeeze the glute on that leg, and yet don't let the leg hit the floor. Pull it up. The quad is working on the up, which in turn means your abs are working. Lower the leg. The abs are working as you control the weight of the leg down, and then fire up your glute. Raise the leg. Lower the leg. Squeeze the bun. Raise the leg. Lower the leg. Squeeze the bun. One more. Inhale. And now the leg is going to stay down. I want you to soften the banded leg knee, and I want you to reach up with the opposite hand to that leg and pull the leg across you into a nice, gentle stretch. You can let out as much band as you need so that you are stretching, not straining. Fabulous. I started thinking, okay, I need to write down some challenges, right? That seems to be all the craze, right? We get into holiday season, bend the leg, roll yourself back to center, transition to leg number 2. And then it's like the countdown through the holidays and the challenge of keeping yourself motivated. That whole thing about keeping yourself active so that you're not overwhelmed with the stress of the season, right? Keeping yourself on track physically so that you don't have 4 to 6 weeks of physical neglect, right? All of these great challenges. Here, are you pulling the leg up and down? Walk the band down, pull the leg up. When you pull the leg up, hopefully your neck is neutral and as much of your upper back is connected with the floor. Walk the back band down, pull it back up. And I thought, do people really get into these challenges, right? And I guess they do. But I thought, why not start with a challenge of, hey, let's just try to drink our 8 glasses of water today. Hey, instead of looking for the parking space that's the closest one to the door, why don't we just, park way out and walk the extra 30 seconds into the store? Hey, instead of, these are all challenges that I'm thinking go off in my mind, right? Hey, instead of like hanging on the grocery cart as you're walking through the store, why not just pick up one of the little hand carts? And you can only buy as much as what you can carry. And oh, hey, don't take the elevator. Hey, take the stairs. Like these are the things, 30 days of challenges through the month of December into New Year, right? Like, do they need to be physical? Hey, let's do 500 push-ups a day. Like that's ridiculous to me. So now that I'm on my rant, which one of those challenges do you guys want to start with? Hold your leg up, shoulders down, pick the other leg up, and now that leg does the swing. I find it funny, okay? The funny part is all of these things that I just said to you. These are things that go through my mind when I'm driving around looking for a parking space. Okay. When I go into the grocery store, pull the shoulders down, I have to shop more frequently because I use that mindset that if it doesn't fit in my little hand cart, then I don't get it. And I have overloaded my hand cart so much so that when I check out and I have all of these bags, they look at me and they'd be like, "Where's your cart?" And I was like, if I can't carry it out of the store, then that means I don't get it. And that's funny, but these are things that I hold myself to. Now, I hope you're working your abs and being distracted by my story all at the same time. You've got one more. The leg comes down, squeeze the bun, right? Okay, one more. You talked me into it. The leg comes down, squeeze the bun, tighten the abs, and now let the leg rest. Take the opposite hand to the high leg, right? You can soften your knees. They don't have to be stiff. Test the water, start pulling the leg over, because if you want more stretch, then just straighten the leg. If you want more stretch and your shoulder doesn't protest, then try to find the floor with the arm. So it looks like as we go into 2023, in order for me to be prepared for December 2023 challenges, I'm going to have to start keeping track now of all of these things that I think are more important physical life day-to-day habit changes than just picking one exercise and doing that as your challenge. Roll back to center, you know. You're going to completely roll yourself up to side sit. We want to get our brain going to the point where we're like, oh, we've successfully completed this portion of the day. Crisscrossed ankles. And don't get me wrong, I do understand that there is an accountability, right? So often the programs that get people signing up for accountability, right? Even if that might be what the real crux of it is. Is it that the person is actually going to do the challenge, or that they sign up with the intention that this will hold them accountable to that? I don't know. Lift and breathe. Release and relax, but I can tell you we need to help me work on that. Lift and breathe, because I'm gonna start throwing stuff out, and we're gonna nail some of these challenges, the 12 months of challenges, right? Release and relax. You've successfully completed this portion of your day. So actually, I'm not going to wait till December 2023. We're going to kick it off in January 2023, and it will be the 12 months of challenges. We just got to find 12 good challenges that will actually improve our lifestyle, not just the 30 days during December. So